You can't grow what you don't understand. You can't measure you can't improve what you're not measuring. Too many franchisees are just flying by the seat of their pants when it comes to their numbers. In this episode, we're going to tackle the financial literacy gap that's quietly choking off performance across many franchise systems. You're going to want to stick around for this.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Schin.
Hey, welcome back to Franchise Pitfalls and Profits, where we uncover the hidden gaps that stall performance, and we share how to build stronger, smarter franchise brands and networks the right way. I'm Don Schin. As I said, this is episode 6 in our Hidden Gaps series, where we're digging into the less obvious but high impact reasons why franchise systems plateau or struggle. But let me first bring you quickly up to date. In the first episode, I just went over all 5 hidden gaps in total just to lay the groundwork. Then I started to dig into them. So the first one we talked about was unit economics blind spot, how franchisors often miss the real cost to ramp up and sustain a profitable unit. And then we addressed the leadership gaps inside the franchisee's 4 walls, how weak team leadership quietly erodes performance. Then sales skills that franchisors, really no one in franchising, no franchisors teach. And then last week, why marketing isn't the problem, conversion is, and how important it was to focus on this specific sales skill. So today's episode is right to the heart of something that I see across the industry, from fitness to food to automotive to home services. Franchisees who are strong operators but weak financial leaders. They're great with people. They're passionate about the brand. They're hard workers. But when it comes to managing the financials, managing cash flow, understanding key performance indicators, it's kind of like them wanting to go to the dentist and get a root canal. They're really not looking forward to it. They don't like to do it. And in most cases, it's really kind of lost in this space. It's not their fault. It is a gap. And it's costing you, the franchisor, growth, both in your royalty streams as your units underperform, but also in you scaling up your number of units as a franchisor, because it eventually circles back around to less than stellar validation. So let me start to break this down. Why financial literacy matters more than ever. Let's define what I really mean by financial literacy in this context of today's episode. We're not talking about becoming a CPA. So let me be clear. I don't love crunching the numbers any more than most other people do. I certainly was never going to be a CPA, and I don't like the numbers from that perspective or to that level of detail. But when we talk about financial literacy at the unit level in this context, I'm not talking about accounting theory or spreadsheet gymnastics. What I'm really talking about is the practical, real world skills that every franchisee needs to confidently manage the money inside their business. Things like understanding a P&L, understanding what cash flow is and tracking cash flow, watching margins, and then using data to make smarter decisions. You don't need to love numbers, but you do need to lead with them. You need to make strong financial decisions or strong business decisions, really, with your numbers clear to you. So we're talking about practical, essential skills. of managing money and the money side of business. I'm talking about, again, things like what's a P&L statement, knowing your break even points, tracking cash flow. What's the difference between cash flow and sales? Monitoring your KPIs. Again, you can't change what you don't measure. You can't improve. So you've got to monitor these KPIs. Things like cost of goods sold, um, marketing return on investment, cost per lead, cost per sale, cost per client, gaining a client, lifetime value of a client. These are all KPIs you should be monitoring in your business. And then also making daily and weekly decisions that support profitability. Never forget talking to a franchisee, really great guy, busted his rear end, did over $1 million in his first year with an emerging brand, uh, and he lost money. It was because he didn't understand or manage some of the things we're talking about here. Again, franchisees don't need to be accountants, but they do need to be financially fluent, because here's the truth. You can't grow what you don't understand. You can't improve what you don't measure. If a franchisee is guessing when it comes to their numbers, then they are gambling with their future. And if you're a franchisor watching today, they're gambling with your numbers as well. So the gap to me is hiding in plain sight, if you will. Because here's what's often happening: the franchisees get their monthly or their quarterly P&L. They probably have an outside unit form. They glance at the bottom line, and they file it away. Did I make money? I know what net profit is. If there's a positive number there, I made money. They look at the bank account once in a while. They log in, see there's cash still there. They're good. They might see the profit or the loss, and they worry if it's a loss, but they don't know why that number. They're not spotting the trends. Again, they're not using the data to drive their business decisions. So give me 1 second here, folks. So what I'm talking about here is, again, if you're the franchisor, or even if you're a franchisee watching today, these are common signs that you need to improve your financial literacy. Or if you're a franchisor, the literacy of your franchisees needs to get better if you're seeing these signs. They confuse revenue with profit. Maybe they can't explain what's driving the costs up and their margins down, or they don't even necessarily see that relationship. They make emotional decisions about pricing. Wow, our sales just seem to be off. We better offer a discount. Better have a sale. They panic in tight months instead of planning with confidence. Again, knowing your numbers, you know what's going to repeat, you know what's going to happen, and you can make plans with confidence. And then again, a last sign is that they underinvest in growth. They overspend without clear return. This underinvest in growth, I think, is really, really key, because they're not doing these things. They never really have growth objectives. They never really make growth plans or scaling plans. They just come in and do the business and go home and hope that there's a net profit. So just asking you honestly, does any of this sound familiar to you personally, if you're a Z, or to you in your brand? If you're the franchisor, I'm pretty confident you've seen this before. So you could type in the comment sections here if you could relate to this. Give me a thumbs up or a high five. It's not a good high five, but these problems are solvable. So don't worry too much or fret too much. If you're listening right now as a franchisee, you're probably nodding. You may not want to admit this in the comment section, but I want you to know you're not alone. This is very common, especially in systems that attract passionate owners, but they attract them from non-business backgrounds. It's the teachers and the nurses and the veterans, the tradespeople, more so maybe than corporate refugees who have a little bit more business background. These are all great people. And let me assure you, you didn't make, if this describes you, if this is you, you didn't make a bad decision joining the franchise. But you've not been financially trained. Again, the gentleman that I spoke about that was the new franchisee, did so well in sales, worked really, really hard to get the business. He thought his franchisor gave him financial training. And the quicker that you recognize this is not the case, you've got a gap and you need to address it, the better off you and certainly the franchisor is going to be. Again, franchisors do not typically do this type of training. It's just, they train on their system and how to operate their system successfully. But these other pieces, they're typically are not, even if they train a little bit on it, it's a passover. It's not a strong training in some of these gap areas. And we've done the analysis with franchise systems, and I've talked to many, many franchisors. And this financial literacy challenge is real. So to be clear, numbers-driven growth starts with confidence. Financial literacy isn't just about spreadsheets. It's not just about math. It's about gaining control of your business and then having the confidence from there to make good business decisions. When a franchisee knows how to read their financials and what to do with that information, they become a stronger leader overall. They make better hiring decisions. They don't overreact to short-term chaos or even noise. They can spot small problems before they become big ones. And they can also become better partners to the brand. Again, if you're a franchisor, getting these people a better financial literacy is going to help them be a better franchisee for your brand overall. Because again, once they're gaining financial literacy, confidence, and control, because they have data-driven conversations, they're not just doing things out of the gut, or a lot of cases just not doing anything because they just don't have the confidence, to move forward. Franchisees who understand their numbers, again, make better daily decisions. They recover faster if something's flipped around, if their revenue's dipped. They invest for growth more wisely. They plan for growth, which is important. If they don't have the confidence in the business, they're not going to plan, and they're just going to kind of do the business, make the donuts, as Dunkin' Donut used to say. And overall, just healthier businesses long term is what you're hoping for as a franchisor, and it's what your franchisees become when they have that stronger financial literacy. So the question is, why aren't more franchisees trained on this from the start? Well, and the bottom line is, what if you're a franchisor on the podcast today? What can you do right now to help your franchisees drive up their numbers and measure them? So here's what you can do. One thing is, stop assuming financial fluency. I talk to franchisors all the time, and sometimes, they tell me they don't have this problem, and then 6 months later they call me back and go, "Oh yeah, we see this now." Just because someone can afford to buy the business does not mean they can run a great operation financially, or that they can provide excellent customer service, which is required by good cash flows and good business. And it doesn't mean that they know how to manage a business entity financially. Again, you could teach them to do the system, but that isn't going to always convert into what your model should do for them. You have to train financial literacy, not just once, but you need to give them more. Um, second thing you can do as a franchisor is incorporate financial literacy in early. Don't wait till the franchisee is struggling. These struggling franchisees turn into either closures or maybe hopefully resales. But it's just not fun. It's not a good experience. So build financial coaching and benchmarks into your onboarding, into your ongoing support, into your field visits. Most field visits are by operations people looking for, what are you not doing right, following the system or not following the system. So it's more than just teaching them how to run a P&L. It's about helping them apply what they're seeing. A third thing is to use the KPIs as a coaching tool, not just a crack the whip kind of scorecard. Too often we give franchisees KPI like dashboards, but we never really show them how to interpret them, how to convert what they're seeing into decisions, how to take that data and what they see. Honestly, again, most of your support, your ops support people, they're not trained in this space either. And so they look to help Z's purely from a system process, run the system better. So again, it's not your support people's fault either. They aren't typically equipped. Larger brands, I'm going to say 10% of the franchise community probably has stronger business skills. I even heard one large conglomerate of a franchise system have both the technical operations people and they have sort of a business coach advisor function. But if you're under 100 units as a franchise, you don't have that capability. You as the ZOR might even be doing some of this, and you're just going to be looking for the quick wins. What are they systemically not quite doing that they could make this all better? So again, nobody's fault. Just be honest about it. Be transparent about it, and get your Z's some help. I think it's important if you could get. In fact, we've seen this with some of our partner clients where we started a group off and someone opted out and a couple people opted in, and you can see their performance differences, how they got started, and just the mindset. The ones that didn't do the training, the supplemental training that we provide that through the franchisor, when they didn't do it, they just don't have that business owner mindset. So we can't just keep using KPIs and dashboards and stuff as a check off kind of thing and check off the box. Okay, they gave us their monthly report. We've got to help these people use these metrics and this data to make smarter business decisions. So let me put that back up for us as I'm wrapping up. Here's the big picture advice that I have for you today, and really the real bottom line. Don't let capable franchisees stay stuck at or around a little above, a little below average when they really have the potential to thrive. Odds are you recruited the right people, but they've fallen into this kind of middle 40% of your franchise system. And by the way, they're not going to complain. They're doing okay. Maybe it's not where they want to be, but they're doing okay. They're following the system pretty much the way you taught them. They're not the superstars, but they're not failing. So they're not going to complain. But if you're a franchisor, this is your biggest opportunity to improve your unit KPIs, your unit performance, and them to be better validators and happier and more successful. It's with filling these gaps with supplemental training like our program, the Franchise Foundations of Success. And if you target it at your middle 40% and your brand new franchisees, you're just going to have an incredibly different year and different performing network. So it's not for lack of effort. It's not for lack of drive. It's not for lack of potential. Your franchisees, again, particularly that middle 40, they just don't have the overall background and tools to manage the money side of the business that they bought. And the longer we let this gap persist in the industry and you as franchisors, the more we risk burnout, poor decision making, and just the overall experience of your franchisees is just not going to be what it should be. The owning of a franchise, the concept of business ownership through franchising, if these gaps are not filled, it's just not the winning formula for everybody succeeding, the Z's and the Zors and future Z's. So that's why FFS, Franchise Foundations of Success, exists. It's to give franchisees the tools, the confidence, and the coaching that they need to become better business owners, not just operators. That middle 40% or so are pretty good operators, but they're not great business owners. What would it mean? Do the math. What would it mean for your franchise systems if everything shifted over 10 or 15%? If your average performance of your units went up 10 to 15%, what's that going to look like? How's that going to impact your culture, the confidence of your franchisees? How's that going to change your royalty streams and the performance of your royalty income? Think about that. It's one thing to own a franchise. It's another to know how to grow it profitably, sustainably, and confidently. So, hey, final takeaways, final action steps. Let's bring this home to 3 key takeaways. Financial literacy should not be optional. Let's stop recruiting people that have this gap, or recruit strong people, but give them the tool of financial literacy. It's critical to their overall successful leadership. Second of all, franchisees don't need to be accountants. So don't try to make them accountants. Don't try to get too much into the theory. Give them enough information that they can understand their numbers, manage their cash flow, use the data on your dashboards to make solid decisions. And then franchisors must own the training gap. I think, we go out and we go to franchisees, and some of your average or above average franchisees will raise their hand and say, I need some training and I need to improve in some areas. But this should really be a supplemental training program provided through the franchisors. So it's not enough to just give them a dashboard. I'm sorry. You have to teach your franchisees what to do with that data. What does it mean? How can they use it? And if your system is ready to grow and your franchisees need to grow too, they need to change from purely an operator's mindset to become true business owners and business leaders. That's what we're doing every day through our Franchise Foundations of Success program. So thanks for joining me here, Franchise Profits, Pitfalls and Profits. If this episode hit home, please like it, share it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. If you're responsible for franchisees or unit level success, share it with anybody else on your teams. If you're ready to equip your franchisees to lead with confidence, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the FFS program. And you just need to go to franchisebuildingexpert.com, the contact us section. Just put in FFS program and the appropriate people on our side. My team will reach out to you. And again, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this. And always, like I like to do before I close, I want you to know the heart behind why I do what I do, the heart behind everything that I do. Franchising to me isn't just about a system. It's not just about a sale or a placement. To me, it's about people stepping into ownership for themselves, building businesses that affect families, communities, and the future of many, many people. Behind every franchise agreement is a story that matters. And my work is rooted in assuring that it's a win-win situations, that everybody wins. And I have a simple belief that if we equip people with the right tools and the right foundations like leadership and sales and financial literacy, the ability to make decisions well, we don't just build stronger businesses, we build legacies. Mine is driven by my faith. The book of Acts in the Bible says that now when David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep or he died. That's my purpose too, to serve well in my generation, to impact multiple generations, to create things that reach not only my grandchildren, but my grandchildren's grandchildren, and giving God, my creator, all the glory. That's why I do what I do the way I do it. Thanks for being with me.